Hey guys, this episode will be going live on Monday, May 28th, 2018. Of course, here in the United States, that's Memorial Day. And I wanted to thank all of those who have served in our military, especially those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. The reason we all have what we have, and the reason I can keep doing a show like this, and the reason why I can have a job like I have and a career like I have, is all thanks to those brave men and women who over the many years of this country have put their lives on the line. So I appreciate it. I am so thankful, and I will be thinking of you this Memorial Day.
From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Ear to There Disney Podcast. I'm your host Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and the founder of Ear to There Travel, which is, of course, a Disney specialized travel agency. It is my job to take away all of that stress, all of that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the really fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And I take care of everything. I take away all that anxiety and all that stress, and I save you all that time at absolutely no extra cost to you. So from getting you the best possible package price, even once your trip is already booked, to booking dining reservations, fast passes, special event tickets like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, golf tee times, all that stuff, I do everything at absolutely no extra charge to you. So let me be your guide. Let me be in your corner. I'll be off in the shadows in the distance, but I'll guide you in every way that I can. I will be the Supreme Leader Snoke to your Kylo Ren. But please don't slice me in half for the lightsaber. All right, calm down. That movie came out almost 6 months ago. It's been on demand and on Blu-ray for like 2 months. You can't blame me for that spoiler. That one's on you. You can find this podcast, my blog, my videos, or request a free, no obligation quote over at ear2theretravel.com. This is episode number 125 for the week of May 28th, 2018. Now grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. And let's start off this episode just like I start off every other numbered episode of the podcast. And that is with the What About Bob segment of the show. So each and every week, Disney legend and retired Imagineer Bob Gurr comes on the show to answer your questions. And when I don't have a question from you guys, my questions, if you don't know who Bob is, Bob created things like the monorails on both coasts, actually, the Matterhorn. You know what? I'm going to stop there because there's a crazy story about the Matterhorn with Bob. I think he told this on the show before, but Bob had never ridden a roller coaster ever. And Walt Disney came to him one day and said, Bob, go build a roller coaster that's going to fit inside Matterhorn Mountain. Oh, and put 2 tracks in there and then find a way for the Skyway buckets to pass through this mountain. So Bob had no idea what he was doing, so he went and rode a couple of roller coasters over the weekend. Then he took a couple of books out on trigonometry from the library. Now, from what he told me, he didn't even pass geometry in high school, but he took out these books on trigonometry, taught himself trigonometry over the weekend, came in and started designing the Matterhorn. If that's not a testament to the genius that Bob Gurr is, I don't know. I don't know what other story is. So if you have a question for Bob that you'd like him to answer, you can call the voice line. That phone number is 267-551-1971. Or you could always email that to me at phil@ear2theretravel.com. And just like every other What About Bob segment, it is brought to you by the Waltland Bus Tour. So what that is each and every month, Bob takes a busload of guests around Southern California with stops in Burbank, in Los Angeles, and in Glendale. And you stop and check out all of the significant historical sites in the history of the Disney company, but more importantly, the historical sites of the life of Walt Disney. To get tickets for the Waltland bus tour, just head over to www.waltland.com. All right, without further ado, here is the man who started an alien panic after the Los Angeles Olympics. And if you don't know that story, listen to last week's episode, number 124. But here he is, Bob Gurr.
It's What About Bob? Bob Gurr, the legend, creator of the Matterhorn, the monorails in the Haunted Mansion. What about Bob, the Disney legend?
What is your absolute favorite snack in Disneyland or in Walt Disney World?
My absolute favorite snack. You know, I've never gotten that question because, number one, long time ago, I weighed way over 200 pounds. And today I weigh about 150 pounds. And I'm not a snacker. I just am not known for ever buying snack food of any kind anywhere because I just have never done it after I lost weight 50 years ago.
So I'll change the question then on you. So if you tonight had to go to one restaurant in Disneyland or Walt Disney World for dinner, which one restaurant would you pick?
I'd go across the street to Mimi's Cafe on Harbor Boulevard.
That's a great answer too. I had a feeling.
You talk to a lot of people that are in the park. They'll all give you the same answer. We'll walk across the street, go to Mimi's because it's a cute little place. It's themed. The prices are nice, and there's a nice range of very healthy food. You know, I can get a bowl of soup at Mimi's Cafe that is so healthy and so tasty. I can't think of a restaurant in Disneyland or Walt Disney World that I can go get a nice little bowl of soup that's not part of a kind of a big planned thematic, a meal. You know, there's so many good restaurants, particularly at Walt Disney World, that are nicely themed that, run a high production thing in which your food preparation is all sort of in dinner style more than it is a la carte, which is a super way to do it. Families love that, but I'm the old dude who wants only a bowl of soup and a good bowl of soup.
So you're not the one waiting in line in Disneyland for the corn dog on the side of the road there.
No, you would never take a picture of me holding a churro.
All right, well, there you go. If you ever wondered what Bob's favorite snack is in Disneyland or Disney World, and to be honest with you, you probably do because I've gotten that question from listeners a bunch. There you have it. Bob would rather leave the park, walk across the street, and go to Mimi's Cafe. Now, my favorite part about that conversation that I had with him was we went on to talk for another 10 minutes about soup, like where you can get good soup around Los Angeles, why he doesn't love the soup in Disneyland. I brought up my favorite soup in all of Walt Disney World, the Canadian cheddar cheese soup from Le Cellier, and he told me he loves that soup, but he's only had it once because, as he said in the answer, it's just too many calories for him. So the conversation just made me laugh, and I wanted to make sure that I threw that one into this week's show. So thank you again to Bob for answering yet another question on the Ear to There Disney podcast. All right, moving on to the topic of the show. And episode number 125 is all about the shows and entertainment in Walt Disney World. Enjoy. When it comes to Walt Disney World, there is just so much to do in the parks and the resorts, the water parks and Disney Springs. And a lot of those things tend to be attractions. And when I say attractions, I mean the rides. And I think that's what gets the most attention in Walt Disney World, right? When you're talking about Walt Disney World and you're talking about what there is to do there, you end up talking about Space Mountain or Tower of Terror or Avatar Flight of Passage. You're not talking, or at least I don't think on this show, I don't talk enough about the shows and the entertainment outside of those rides. So that's why this week is all about the entertainment and shows in Walt Disney World. Now, it's just me in the office this week in a studio, but this kind of episode is great for me to go and do by myself. Why? Well, because it's my opinion and no one else is going to sway me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of Walt Disney World's 130, I'm not kidding, 130 shows and entertainment options. And I'll tell you if I think they are worth the time, worth the effort, worth the wait, or if they're not. This is kind of like a cheat sheet for your, you know what, that's what I'm going to call the episode. That's a good idea. See, some things happen when you're recording and you're just kind of ad-libbing. This is going to be the cheat sheet for Walt Disney World's shows and entertainment. And the way Disney has it listed on their website is just in alphabetical order. I thought about going through by park or by Disney Springs or resort, but that's difficult because I don't want to leave anything out. So I'm going to just go through it alphabetically. I'll let you know where each and every one of these things is. So hopefully that makes sense. Here we go. Let's talk about, or I will talk about, and you can listen while you're sitting in traffic or on the bike or the treadmill or wherever you are. The first thing on the list is AMC Movies at Disney Springs 24. That's obviously at Disney Springs. It's a movie theater. You know what they are. Okay, moving on. Next up on the list is BB-8 Astromech on Duty. So that's the BB-8 meet and greet inside Star Wars Launch Bay at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Here's my honest opinion of that one. It's cool to do once. It's really cool to do with your little kids, especially if they're into Star Wars. After you do it once, I don't know if you have to keep going back, to be honest. The interaction is kind of the same every time. I'd rather, if I'm going to spend time in Launch Bay, I'd rather meet Chewbacca or Kylo Ren. All right. Then I'm sure those will come up in a little bit. All right, moving on. Next, alphabetically, Beauty and the Beast live on stage over at Hollywood Studios. Yes, it's still worth it, even if you've seen it 15 times, I think. Mainly because of the live performances, the dancers, the singing of both Gaston and Belle. If you haven't seen it, go do it. Your kids will love it. If you have seen it, go back again. Next up, British Revolution over at Epcot in World Showcase's United Kingdom Pavilion. An awesome show. And it's not out in front. You have to kind of walk to the back of the pavilion there to see the stage, back where the hedge maze is. They perform on like a gazebo back there. They do songs from like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all the British bands. It's a lot of fun. So get your bass or your fish and chips or your, I don't know, Stella Artois, if you're a fancy pants, and walk to the back of the pavilion and enjoy British Revolution. That's a lot of fun. Next up, alphabetically, is over in Disney's Animal Kingdom, and it's in the Africa section of the park in the village of Harambe. And I don't understand how to pronounce it or know how to pronounce it, but it is, I'm going to do my best. It's Burudika, where it's spelled Burudika. And they, of course, are the singers and the dancers in Harambe in the middle of the village. Very, very worth your time. They're just so much fun. So when you're racing through Harambe to get to Kilimanjaro Safaris or Gorilla Falls, stop and listen for a while and watch and just enjoy it. It's a great show, a lot of fun. The kids will be up dancing. It's just a lot of fun. So, all right, moving on to Magic Kingdom and Captain Jack Sparrow's Pirate Tutorial. You can find this over in Adventureland out in front of Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a fun show. It is. If you haven't seen it, go see it. There's a lot of audience interaction, guest interaction. Captain Jack is always fun. But again, if you've seen it before, if you've seen it a bunch of times, you can kind of walk past it and go into Pirates and just run right past the Magic Carpets of Aladdin. Do not stop there. Do not ride that attraction. I don't care if your kids love it. No, go ahead if your kids love it, I guess. If this is your first time listening to this show, you're like, why does this guy hate that attraction? I can't go on about it again. All right, moving on in alphabetical order to Casey's Corner Pianist. Listen, you can't beat sitting at Casey's Corner with your corn dog nuggets or your footlong and listening to a live piano player. It's an awesome experience. Do it. I've listened to, I forget the guy's name who plays the piano there, but it's most of the time it's the same guy who's been there for like 20 years. He's phenomenal. And I apologize to you, sir, for not remembering your name, but it's a fun show. And listen, you get to eat, enjoy Casey's, which I love. Shout out to Chuck Rodriguez, who pretends he doesn't like Casey's, but secretly loves it. Okay. Moving on to next on the list over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And that's the Celebrity Spotlight meet and greet right now with Olaf. Olaf, of course, is from Frozen. That's a really fun meet and greet for the kids. And if you're an adult, man, and you love Olaf, you love the movie Frozen, go meet him. It's the only place you can meet him in the parks right now, so go. Usually it's like a 20-minute or less wait. So yeah, it's totally worth it. Next up, in the entertainment section of the show, because you can find them kind of all over Hollywood Boulevard and on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood Studios, and they are the Citizens of Hollywood. So they are the streetmosphere actors who kind of ride the little cars or drive around and walk up and down the street and perform all kinds of skits and live performances in front of the guests every day. Listen, I've had Johnny Shortsleeve on the show so many times. They're his and his family's favorite things. They're not things, they're people. Favorite people in the parks. Their performances are never the same. They're always just full of audience and guest interaction, and they're phenomenal. So I'd recommend, if you see them on the street, stop, watch. It's a great show. Next up, Magic Kingdom, Citizens of Main Street. The same thing, although they are not as kind of show-oriented. But you see them oftentimes out in the morning as the guests are racing down Main Street to get to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train or wherever they're heading. They will see the Citizens of Main Street outside. Do yourself a favor. This is a worth it one. Stop and talk to them. They are in character all the time. They're phenomenal. They're funny. They're witty. So yeah, make a point to stop when you see the Citizens of Main Street. They're a lot of fun. Next up on the list. I said Lisk? Man, okay, I need to get another cup of coffee. Next up on the list with a T are the Dapper Dans in Magic Kingdom. Of course, they are a singing quartet, barbershop quartet, I guess, originally started in Disneyland. They've been in Magic Kingdom since opening day in 1971. Always, always, always stop, at least for a couple minutes, and see them. They are awesome. Next up is, in Magic Kingdom again, the Disney Festival of Fantasy Parade. Here's my thing. You should definitely see the Festival of Fantasy Parade, even if the Maleficent Dragon is not there, which she is not currently because she caught fire a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully they're bringing her back and she'll come back into the parade in all of her glory. But if you've seen the Festival of Fantasy Parade once or twice, you may want to skip it. And I say that not because it's not a phenomenal parade, which it is. It's a great daytime parade and currently the only parade in Magic Kingdom. But you can use that time to ride attractions and you'll have a shorter wait. And when I say attractions, I mean rides. So that might be something to think about. Next up in alphabetical order, Disney Junior live on stage over at Hollywood Studios. If you have little kids, definitely toddlers, babies, kids, maybe 6 and under, definitely go do it. If you don't have little kids or aren't traveling with little kids who aren't your own, that sounds weird. You know what I mean. You're not just picking up random kids like on the way down in South Carolina and taking them with you. No, I mean like you have a nephew. You know what I mean. So, sorry, I'm laughing at myself. That's kind of what I do. But yeah, you could skip Disney Junior live on stage if you don't have little kids with you. It's basically a puppet show with all of the Disney Junior characters. A lot of fun for kids. Adults, we have to sit on the floor. You might want to skip it. Next up is the electrical water pageant that goes on the water at the Seven Seas Lagoon outside of the Magic Kingdom and the Magic Kingdom resorts. Listen, if you haven't seen it, right, you got to go see it. This is pure classic Walt Disney World. The floats are still awesome. They date back to the 70s. The music is still great. The show is still great. It's a worthwhile investment of your time. So definitely go check that out. Next up, Festival of the Lion King over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I say it all the time on this show. Whenever I talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom, I bring up the show. Just go see it. It's so good. It's so good. We see it every time we're in the park. It's worth it. It's just, the music is amazing. The acrobats are just phenomenal. Just go see it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Next up, in the same park, Finding Nemo the musical. How the heck did Disney's Imagineers and songwriters make a film that had no songs in it, at least songs with lyrics, and turn it into a musical, well, go see it and you'll find out. It's like if you've ever seen Avenue Q or have heard of that on Broadway, where the actors and the singers in the show use puppets. They kind of have puppets that they act out the show with, but they actually use their voice to sing it. I can't, it's harder to explain than it seems, but it's a great show. So go see Finding Nemo, the musical, definitely. Next up, Magic Kingdom, the flag retreat ceremony in Town Square. I mentioned at the start of the show that this episode is coming out on Memorial Day. That's kind of fitting because the flag retreat ceremony, each and every day at Magic Kingdom, cast members pick out a veteran of our United States Armed Forces to participate in that ceremony. It happens every day at 5 p.m. It's really worth seeing. It's a somber but an inspirational kind of experience. Yeah, definitely go see it. Whenever I am in the Magic Kingdom with my kids at 5 p.m., we will stop and check it out. Definitely worth your time. Okay, over to Disney's Hollywood Studios. For the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration. You might think it's just for kids. It's a sing-along. It's not. It's a great show. It really is for the entire family. If you don't have kids or that loner kid that you brought with you from South Carolina, it's still a great show. The Royal Citizens of Arendelle make it. They're phenomenal. Again, I mentioned it on the show before. They put on a phenomenally topical show full of pop culture references. Go see it. If you're there in the parks, there's not going to be a long wait. Go check it out. Next up, and I'm going to combine two into one here, over in the lobby of the Grand Floridian. And they are the Grand Floridian Lobby Pianist and the Grand Floridian Society Orchestra. They kind of go on after each other. So you'll get the pianist first, and then the orchestra will go on after the pianist. If you're in the Grand Floridian, it's definitely worth, trying to grab one of the chairs or the couches in the lobby and just hanging out for a little bit and listening. I know a lot of folks like to do the monorail crawl around all the monorail resorts. It's a cool place to stop on your monorail crawl. You can sit in the air conditioning and listen to the classical music. It's very, very cool. Now, if you have little kids they may not enjoy that one as much. That's kind of, I guess, more for the older children, teenagers, and adults. I don't know how happy your, toddler will be sitting in Grand Floridian and listening to classical music. But hey, man, you know your kid better than I do. All right, moving on. Back to Magic Kingdom, the nighttime spectacular, Happily Ever After. Of course, this is the fireworks and projection show that replaced Wishes. Shed a silent tear for Wishes. That is nightly in Magic Kingdom. It's a great show. I've seen it from inside the park, right in front of the castle. I've also seen it from the top of the world over at Bay Lake Tower and from the Polynesian. Oh, and from the Transportation and Ticket Center. I would recommend always, if you can, if it's possible, watching it from Main Street or as close to Cinderella Castle as possible. That is where you'll get the best view of those projections. And it does. I mean, it's a projection show as much as it is a fireworks show. Actually, maybe even more of a projection show than a fireworks show. So it's worth it to fight the crowds a bit if you can and stick around at the castle to try to watch it. Next up on the list, Hoop-de-Doo musical review over at the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground. The show's been going since the 70s. I think it's the longest continually running stage show in existence. It's classic. It's hilarious. The food is great. All you care to eat and all you care to drink, really, because the alcohol is included in ticket price. Go see it. Take your family. Take your little kids. Take your grandmother, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncle. I'd say anyone from the age maybe 4, 5, and up is a perfect age for the show. It's just a great show. Just go see it. It's worth it. If you've seen it before, go see it again. And then next up is Illuminations Reflections of Earth over at Epcot. That's their nightly spectacular in that park. It's fireworks, it's lasers, it's projection, it's music. It's a phenomenal show. Go see it. Even if you've seen it a couple of times, see it again. Because the rumor is, and if the rumors are true, it's not going to be there all that much longer with the kind of refurbishment or retheming of Epcot. So go see it if you can. Okay, moving on to back over to Hollywood Studios and the Indiana Jones epic stunt spectacular. This show, listen, I'm a big Indiana Jones fan. If you've listened to this show before, you probably have heard me mention Indiana Jones at some point. I don't think there's enough Indiana Jones in the parks at all. I was hoping with the acquisition of Lucasfilm, there would be more and more Indiana Jones. There really hasn't been. But if you're like me and you love Indiana Jones, you love the movies, you love the character, go see this show. To me, it's still as good now as it was when I first saw it when I was a kid. And I know everything that's going to happen. I've seen it dozens of times. And I still love the show. So if you have young boys who are into action and stunts and guys falling off the buildings, it's definitely worth your time. Okay, moving over to Epcot and the Jammers at Future World East. It's Jammitors. Sounds like janitors because they look like janitors, but they jam. See, I would call it Jammers, but I don't say janitor. It's weird. My accent's weird. Anyway, these are guys that do look like they are custodial cast members, but they actually play music with trash cans and brooms and all kinds of stuff that you can find, that you would find in a janitor's closet. Great show, a lot of fun. If you see them, stop for a couple minutes, enjoy the performance. It's really, really good. Next up, still in Hollywood Studios, Jedi Training, Trials of the Temple. You have to be a little kid to be in the show. My best recommendation is if you have a child that wants to be in the Jedi Training, get to Hollywood Studios before the park opens. And when the park does open, head straight to the Indiana Jones merchandise location, the Indiana Jones Outpost. Right to the side of that building is where you sign up for the Jedi Training Trials of the Temple. Your child can fight bad guys like Kylo Ren or Darth Vader or Darth Maul. And there's some other ones mixed in there from the Star Wars universe. It's a fun show to stop and see if you're just walking by. It's an even more fun show if your child is in it. And I believe once a year on Star Wars Day, May the 4th, adults are actually allowed in the show. So that's kind of cool. Next up, over at the Boardwalk Resort or Boardwalk Inn, however you want to say it, is Jelly Rolls, which is a dueling piano bar. It opens at 7 p.m. and it's open till 2 a.m. every night. Kids are not allowed in. It's a 21 and over club. But if you want to go and enjoy some fun dueling pianos, this is the place to go. Now, that being said, I haven't been in years since I've had children. So probably 7+ years ago. Wow. Was my last time in Jelly Rolls. But from what I remember, it's a very fun show. All right, next up in Epcot, the Jeweled Dragon Acrobats. They, of course, are in the China Pavilion in World Showcase. Definitely worth your time. Go check them out. They do some amazing things. Like, you just sit there and watch them and you're like, how? Yeah, you're just dumbfounded by the stuff they can do. So on your way to go grab yourself an egg roll from the Joy of Tea cart, or on your way to go to Nine Dragons or wherever, or to meet Mulan, stop by, check them out. It's a fun show. The next two I'm going to combine again. It's the Main Street Philharmonic on Main Street USA and the Main Street Philharmonic at Storybook Circus. Of course, these are both in Magic Kingdom. This is the Main Street or the Magic Kingdom Marching Band. They play all kinds of Disney favorites, and then they'll play, if it's the holidays, they'll play some holiday favorites. They're awesome. Kind of a quintessential part of the Disney experience. If you see them playing, stop for a minute, watch them. They're really, really good. Again, it's not something that you have to go search out and wait at a certain time for. They play a couple times a day on Main Street and in Storybook Circus. Next up, also on Main Street USA, the Main Street Trolley Show. Listen, watch this show. It's phenomenal. I said phenomenal a lot this episode, I think. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's great. Is it the same kind of thing every time? Yeah, it is. They do it 3 or 4 times every morning on Main Street USA. But they sing, I'm walking right down the middle of Main Street USA. There's my singing for the episode. You knew it was coming. I can't go a show without singing. Bad, good, indifferent, whatever. I'm still going to sing. Anyway, you got to see the show if you're there in the morning. It's a fun show. My kids love it. My wife and I love it. My whole family loves it. We always stop and watch it. All right, going back over to Disney's Hollywood Studios, March of the First Order. All right, it's really cool if you're a Star Wars fan. If you've seen it once, though, you've seen it. I always stop. I always take video. I always take pictures. And it's the same thing. It's Captain Phasma leading the First Order stormtroopers up Hollywood Boulevard. Then she does a little presentation on the stage there. Again, if you've seen it once, you've seen it. You don't have to watch it every time they come by. It's like every hour all day. And this is coming from a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars, but yeah, it's a little played out. But of course, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. Next up, going back over to Epcot to the Mexico Pavilion, and it's the mariachi band, Mariachi Cobre. I hope I pronounced that right. I won't pronounce it again for fear of sounding ridiculous, but it is the mariachi band that plays in the Mexico Pavilion. Listen, it's an authentic mariachi band. How cool is that? You get to see them. Grab your margarita, your nachos, your empanada, whatever you're going to grab to eat or drink, and then find a spot in the shade to sit for a few minutes or stand for a few minutes and watch their little performance. All right, next up is in Epcot's World Showcase, and actually in the Morocco Pavilion, and I am going to butcher this name, so please forgive me, but it's Matbuka Groove. I'm asking you like you were going to answer me. So I haven't seen these musicians in Morocco yet. At least I don't believe that I have. But apparently across Morocco and the Mediterranean, matbuka is known as a spicy appetizer made up of cooked spices. And much like this rich side dish, the band Matbuka Groove packs a satisfying and zesty punch. So there you go. I can't give an honest review on these guys because I have not seen their performance in Morocco. But hey, they're not lumberjacks on logs, is all I have to say. Poor Canadian lumberjacks on logs. That was not a show that was going to last very long at Epcot, was it? And to think that Disney got rid of Off Kilter and they brought in lumberjacks. And why didn't the crowd just love the lumberjacks? I wonder. Well, if you don't know, the answer is because Off Kilter was one of the most popular groups in all of Epcot and in all of Walt Disney World, really. And people were super upset that they let them go and brought in a lumberjack show. All right, moving on. I'm not going to kill the lumberjacks anymore. Although I could. Staying in Epcot, staying in World Showcase, actually, and going over to the Japan Pavilion. And another word that I'm sure I can't pronounce correctly, it is Matsuriza. Yep, that's horrible. And these are the traditional drum players in the Japan Pavilion. It's really a neat show. When you watch these guys and you watch really all of the performers around World Showcase, it's stuff that we're not really accustomed to seeing as Americans, right? So it's really cool to see them play these huge drums. And it's a neat show. They start off a little slow, and as the show goes on, it gets faster and faster and faster. And it's one that you might want to stop. If again, these aren't experiences that you will kind of plan your vacation around. But if you're walking through World Showcase and you start to hear the drums, go to the Japan Pavilion and check it out. It's worth it. Okay, moving on to heading over to the Magic Kingdom. Meet Alice in Wonderland at the Mad Tea Party. Lots of times Alice will be with the White Rabbit over there. They meet usually between 8 something in the morning and noon. If you've never met Alice, say at World Showcase, this is a really cool place to meet her. The interaction between her and your kids is going to be awesome, or you and her as an adult. Hey, listen, I'm not here to judge. We all want to meet the characters. I'm sure I've met Alice on my own once or twice. Anyway, it's a good place to meet her. The line might be shorter here at the Mad Tea Party than it would be in World Showcase. So it's a fun place to meet Alice. And again, sometimes the Mad Hatter and sometimes the White Rabbit will be accompanying her there. Moving on to Epcot and World Showcase and Norway. Of course, in the Norway Pavilion opening a couple of years ago, meet Anna and Elsa at Royal Sommerhus. I've talked about this on the show before. I think my wife has talked about it. It's a great meet and greet. It really is. It's so well themed inside. It really feels like the summer kind of residence of Anna and Elsa. When you walk through, there's like pictures of them on the wall as kids. Well, paintings, I guess. I guess there weren't, pictures or cameras in Arendelle. At least I didn't see any when I watched the movie, which I've seen a million times. Okay. So it's a great meet and greet. The wait times usually aren't too bad because it's right next to Frozen Ever After. And it kind of balances out that line a little bit for Frozen Ever After. I think the waits, it hovers usually around a half hour, 25 minutes, something like that. Not Frozen Ever After, of course, the meet Anna and Elsa. My kids love it. As an adult, if you're a big princess fan, you want to meet the princesses, it's a fun one. Can you remember like 5 years ago or so when I think it was like 5 years ago when Frozen first came out and they kind of rushed Anna and Elsa into the Norway Pavilion for meet and greets? Holy cow. It was like a 3 or 4 hour wait every day. And the same thing when they were over at Princess Fairy Tale Hall in Magic Kingdom. You were looking at, 3 or 4 hours. An adult would have to stand in line while the other parent or the other adult took the kids somewhere because, listen, kids aren't waiting 4 hours for anything. Man, we just pretended to our kid. This is horrible. We pretended to our children at that point that Anna and Elsa weren't there. And the one day we were standing outside the Norway Pavilion, and Anna and Elsa were walking into the building to meet and greet guests. And we cheated. They waved to my kids. It was awesome. We got a wave to our twins and our oldest daughter, and we didn't have to wait. It was great. But now, the wait now is, 25 minutes, half hour, usually tops. It's worth it. It's cute. The interaction between Elsa and Anna is fantastic. Bring them chocolate. They won't eat it because they can't do that because they're on stage and they're princesses, but bring them a gift of chocolate. It's very fun. Or ask them how Olaf or Sven or Kristoff is doing or Hans. You get a lot of fun responses out of them. Actually, side note, that goes for all the face characters, the ones that have the ability to talk to you. Think of fun, kind of off the beaten path questions that you could ask them. Not ones that they won't be able to answer. Don't ask something outrageous. But when we met Mulan, for example, my daughter asked how Mushu was. When we met Tiana, one of my kids asked for a gumbo recipe. And Tiana, man, this is how great the Disney princesses and the characters are. She just rattled off a recipe off the top of her head. Like, she was ready for that question. She knew a gumbo recipe by heart, and she just gave it to us. It was amazing. So, yeah, think of fun things to ask the face characters. All right, moving on to another, I keep saying moving on, I apologize. Heading over to another meet and greet, and it's in Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland. And the official title is Meet an Out-of-This-World Friend in Tomorrowland. And, of course, that is Buzz Lightyear himself. The waits usually aren't very long to meet him. He's kind of off, tucked behind Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. So if your kids really want to meet Buzz, this is the place to do it. Buzz is a costume character, a masked character, so he won't answer any questions, but it's a fun meet and greet nonetheless. Now, staying in Magic Kingdom over in Fantasyland is Meet Ariel at her grotto, or Ariel, however you pronounce that name. I say Ariel like the font. Now, this one is the exception. This is going to have a wait, and you can get a fast pass for it. I'd actually recommend getting fast passes for this one if you can, because it's never like less than a half hour, 35-minute wait. Usually it's more than that. You're looking at an hour a lot of times. So if you want to meet Ariel, I would suggest getting a fast pass or kind of going early in the morning or later at night or during a meal. That always helps. Go during lunch, go during breakfast, go at noon or 12:30. Okay, moving on to meet a Wonder World. Wonder World? What's wrong with me? Now I sound like, you're my Wonder Wall. No, Wonderland friend in the United Kingdom. Sorry for the horrible Oasis. Oasis, they were pretty good, man. I like the Oasis stuff. That's one of the only songs I can play well on guitar is Wonderwall by Oasis. You know, it's like do 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 do. By now, you. All right. So the Wonderland friend is either Alice in Wonderland or Mary Poppins. Both really cool meet and greets, especially for the kids, for the girls. A lot of times I see little girls dressed up like Alice or dressed up like Mary Poppins waiting in line. Of course, you can meet Mary Poppins in Magic Kingdom, and you can meet, like I just said, Alice in Magic Kingdom. But this is a fun place. The little tea area, the little garden at the UK Pavilion, it's fun. And it's a cute little meet and greet, so you should check it out with your girls or your son if he's a big Mary Poppins fan. Actually, my son is. He loves meeting the princesses with his sisters. So, and not just the princesses. Like I said, Mary Poppins, Alice. He's into it. If his big sisters are into it, he's into it. So it's a lot of fun. All right. Also in Epcot, meet Baymax at Heroes Workshop. Baymax is a fun character to meet. Usually the line isn't super long. You might wait 20 minutes or so to meet him. But listen to this. It's all in air conditioning. Yes, that's right. It's inside. You can go in there. It's dark. The air conditioning is blasting. It's freezing in there even in the summer. So if you're sweating, if you're walking through World Showcase and then come upon, Future World and you're sweating your tail off, this is a great place. Go meet Baymax. Wait in line for who cares how long. Baymax is a fun one to meet. Another character you can meet in France or France is Belle. And it's Belle in the blue dress, like Devil in the blue dress, but it's Belle in the blue dress. And that's a big one. And I think around Christmas, she wears her Christmas dress. So that's kind of cool too. But she will have a line regardless of the time of day, whether it's 11 a.m. or 5 o'clock p.m. She's going to have a line over there in France at Epcot because people love to get pictures with Belle in the blue dress. Again, your girls are going to love it. Your son will love it. Your husband will probably love it. I have to admit, I don't mind meeting Belle with the kids and try to find a fun question to ask Belle. All right, over at Hollywood Studios at Pixar Place, you can meet Buzz Lightyear and Woody. This one, I like. I feel like the wait is always a little longer than the one in Magic Kingdom to meet just Buzz. Yeah, Toy Story Mania kind of takes that line away a little bit, but I hate to badmouth anything, but I have to be honest. If your kids really want to meet Buzz and Woody together, then hit it. If not, you could probably sneak by without them seeing them. I know with my kids, I don't know why I'm whispering. They're not in here. But I know with my kids, we've walked by that a lot and have kind of avoided it because it is a long line. All right. Meet the characters from Aladdin in Adventureland. Again, this is throughout the day over in Adventureland in Magic Kingdom. And you'll normally meet Aladdin and Jasmine. I've never seen the genie over there. I have seen Jafar once or twice, but the genie will be the ultimate kind of cool character. Again, if your kids love Aladdin, they love Jasmine, or if you do, if you love the movie, definitely stop by and see them. Next up, meet Cinderella and Elena at Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Get a fast pass. That's all I have to say about this one. Get a fast pass. It's going to be a 45-minute wait to a 90-minute wait. Elena has blown up Princess Fairy Tale Hall. The kids love Princess Elena of Avalor. You know the song, Elena. No, you don't know it? You should know that song. Come on, watch Disney Junior once in a while. Anyway, poor Cinderella. I feel bad for her because she's in that space with her, and the girls are coming in their Elena dresses, and there's like one kid out of every 20 that's in a Cinderella dress. Poor Cinderella. How we forget about the classics. Anyway, get a fast pass for it. Trust me. Okay. Over at Hollywood Studios, meet Cruz Ramirez at Pixar Place. If you've seen Cars 3, first of all, if you haven't seen it, you should see it because it's really good. Way better than Cars 2. What was going on in Cars 2? I tried to watch it again recently with the kids. I was lost. It doesn't even make sense with the time. It's so weird. Cars 2 is weird. Cars 3 is excellent. So go see that. And, well, don't go see it. You can get it on demand. But if you haven't seen it, see it and then meet Cruz in Pixar Place. And Cruz is the yellow sports car, the new sports car that is voiced by Cristela Alonso in Cars 3. If you don't know her, she's a stand-up comic. I probably pronounced her name wrong because I don't pronounce Hispanic names very well at all. But I tried. Sorry, Cristela. But she's hilarious. Her stand-up comedy is great. Don't let your kids listen. She's a little bit on the blue side. And if you don't know what blue means in stand-up comedy terms, well, she's just kind of fresh. And I don't mean fresh in like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air way. You know how I mean it. But I know my son was super into Cars and loved Cars 3, so meeting Cruz was a really, really neat thing. So there's no fast passes or anything. I think they start around 10 a.m. So just go over to Pixar Place, find Cruz. She's very cool. All right, meet Daring Disney. This is hard to say. Meet Daring Disney pals as Man. All right, I want to try it a third time. I'm not going to edit this because I want you to see the creative process. Here we go. Let me take a deep breath. Meet Daring Disney pals as circus stars at Pete's Silly Sideshow. That is an incredibly difficult title to say. Seriously, Disney Imagineering, I know you guys came up with this title. If you're listening, shorten that, will you? Basically, it's meet the characters at Pete's Silly Sideshow. So it's Donald and Goofy and Minnie and Daisy. They're in fun kind of circus costumes. You can't get fast passes for this one. It's between 10 a.m. and 7:30. Listen, if your kids are really into meeting the characters, this is one worth waiting for. If not, if they don't need to meet them in a circus setting, you can meet all of these characters in other spots at Disney character breakfast and dinner locations. So to me, we've done this. I'm not going to lie. I've done this with my kids, but I would recommend meeting the characters somewhere else to save yourself some time if possible. Next up, meet Disney Friends in Town Square. The one character you're guaranteed to meet here is Pluto. He's there like every morning, every afternoon. Other characters kind of come and go, but if you want to meet Pluto, go there in the morning first thing. there will be a line. There is always a line in Town Square for characters. Okay, meet Disney Junior Pals in the Animation Courtyard. That's over at Hollywood Studios, of course, in the Animation Courtyard. You can meet Minnie, you can meet Pluto, Sophia the First, and Jake from Jake and the Neverland Pirates. As far as I know, unless you're paying for a breakfast, you can't meet Jake or Sophia anywhere else. So it's worth it if you have little kids that watch Disney Junior. If not, skip it. It's another one that we kind of usher our kids by if we can sneak them past it. Next up, meet the Disney Pals at Epcot Character Spot. This one, again, you can get a fast pass for. You don't need to. You can find it. Go during lunch. Go first thing in the morning when the waits are, 20 minutes. A lot of times in the really busy parts of the day, waits for this attraction get up to 45 minutes, 60 minutes. I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't recommend waiting 45 to 60 for it. If your kids are super, super, super into meeting Mickey, Pluto, or Goofy, sorry, I couldn't remember who it was, on your Epcot day, then get a fast pass or go in the off times. Next is meet Doc McStuffins in Conservation Station. Of course, the world famous toy doctor is in Conservation Station at Disney's Animal Kingdom because she's also a pet vet. I don't know if you knew that, but she is. She's a toy veterinarian as well. So you can meet her in the morning and the afternoon up at Conservation Station. Again, if your kid's really into Doc McStuffins, do it. If not, something you can skip. Next, meet Donald Duck in Mexico, in the Mexico Pavilion at Epcot. This one, Donald is wearing a sombrero, so you may want to do it. Donald's a fun character to meet, and if you want the picture with the Mexico background and Donald in the sombrero and the poncho, do that one. If not, you can walk past it, grab your margarita, wave to Donald as you go by. You might could wave back. Same thing at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Meet the favorite Disney Pals at the Adventurers Outpost. You meet Minnie and Mickey in their safari outfits. You can get a fast pass at this one. I'd recommend not getting a fast pass at this one only because there are plenty of other things you're going to want to get fast passes for in Animal Kingdom. Again, you can go there early in the morning or late in the afternoon or the evening. Find a 20-minute wait if you really want to meet Mickey and Minnie. Or you could also meet them in the same outfits if you book reservations at Tusker House. That's in Africa in Animal Kingdom. So there you go. All right, the next one. Meet Gaston near his tavern in Magic Kingdom in Fantasyland. If you haven't done this, do it. It's so much fun to meet Gaston. He's one of those villains, one of those characters that can really give it to you. Like, he's not really nice. And that's what makes it a lot of fun. My kids go and have given him a hard time. He gives you a hard time right back. Just go to YouTube and type in Gaston Magic Kingdom. You'll find all kinds of videos where he just kind of messes with people. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't met Gaston, go get in line, meet him. Or if you don't want to wait in line, just kind of stand by while he meets other people and watch what he does. Listen to what he says. Check out the interactions. It's really fun. All right. Meet Joy and Sadness at headquarters. Again, this is over in Epcot. Same place where you're going to find Baymax at the character spot. And the great thing is air conditioned. Ding, 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 ding. Listen, we're coming up on the summer. You want a break from the heat, from the sun. Epcot's a hot park. Go meet Joy and Sadness. You get to meet them kind of in the command center, like from the movie, from Inside Out. It's really fun. Next up, meet Merida in the Fairy Tale Garden at Magic Kingdom. This one's over by Cinderella Castle. If you're walking towards Cinderella Castle up Main Street, stay to your right-hand side. Before you get into Fantasyland, you'll come upon Merida on your left-hand side. There's always going to be a line here. There's never a fast pass. There just aren't fast passes available. The line is in the sun. It's hot. So I'd recommend if you have a Merida fan in your party, absolutely go do it. You can't meet Merida anywhere else in Walt Disney World. If you don't have a big Merida fan, you might want to skip it. Listen, it's a really fun meet and greet. There's archery. She's such a charming princess, but yeah, again, could be a long wait. Next, meet Mickey Mouse in Town Square Theater. This is the one. Now, I don't know if you saw the news. This was formerly the home of the talking Mickey Mouse. Mickey no longer talks at this attraction, so kind of a bummer. You can get a fast pass. I'm curious as to how the fast passes are going to go now that it doesn't talk. I'd assume not as many guests are going to want to get fast passes for it. I honestly wouldn't wait more than 20 minutes to meet Mickey. You can meet him in so many other locations throughout Walt Disney World that if you're not set on seeing him in his kind of magician outfit, go meet him somewhere else. Next up, meet Mulan in China, of course, in Epcot China Pavilion. A lot of fun. She was on our bucket list. We met Mulan a couple of trips ago. Again, incredibly knowledgeable. We asked her some really tough questions. She was great. But again, the same rules go for Mulan as go for the other princesses. If your kids have an autograph book and you guys are collecting as many autographs as you can, do it. Same thing with the next one, meet Peter Pan in Fantasyland. That's at Magic Kingdom. Sometimes they'll have Wendy with them, so that's kind of cool. And it's the only place where you can meet Peter Pan in Walt Disney World. So if, you're a big Peter Pan fan, then there you go. Meet Pocahontas at the character landing in Animal Kingdom is the next one. Listen, I got to be honest with you. We've never done that. My kids, we walk right past it every time. The sign's really small. I don't even point it out to my kids. They've never seen Pocahontas. So yeah, we skip it. But if you're a big Pocahontas fan, it's in Animal Kingdom. And we're going a little late here. I'm going to go through the rest of the meet and greets kind of quickly. Meet Jasmine in Morocco. You can meet Rafiki at Rafiki's Planet Watch in Animal Kingdom. You can meet Rapunzel and Tiana at Princess Fairy Tale Hall. Again, you might want to think about a fast pass for this one. Meet Russell and Doug at Discovery Island. That's a fun one. That's at Animal Kingdom. You can meet Tigger and Pooh and friends near the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Normally it's Tigger and Pooh there. Once in a while you get Eeyore. Again, that's at Magic Kingdom as well. Meet Tinkerbell at Town Square Theater in Magic Kingdom. Think about a fast pass, especially if your daughters or your son or your sister are super, super into Tinkerbell, because again, that can be a long wait. Over at Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie starring in Red Carpet Dreams. This is another meet and greet for Mickey and Minnie. Okay, that was all the meet and greets, I think, at least on this list. Next is Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair. That is the castle show, of course, on the stage in front of Cinderella Castle. That's just a good show, but if you've seen it once, you don't have to keep seeing it. But if you haven't seen it, stop, watch it. But it draws a big crowd, like every hour, 10:30, 11:30, 1, 2, 4. It draws a big crowd. So if you've seen it, it might be smart to kind of jog on past it and go do something else. All right, up next, Move It, Shake It, Dance and Play It Street Party. Of course, this is an updated version of the Move It, Shake It, Celebrate It Street Party. Same deal, different songs, kind of the same floats, a few new characters. If you've seen it, if your kids have seen it, kind of jog past it. If you haven't, stop, watch it, then run away from it and go do Haunted Mansion. Next on the list. All right, this one you have to stop and see. Even if you've seen one of these shows, you haven't seen all of them. And that's The Muppets Present Great Moments in American History. That's in Liberty Square, out near Hall of Presidents in Magic Kingdom, several times a day. I think it starts at 11:30 and it's like every half hour or 40 minutes or so all day. Listen, it's the Muppets. It's funny. It's got Kermit and Miss Piggy and Sam the Eagle and Fozzie and Gonzo. Even if your kids don't really know the Muppets, which I think they probably do now because of all the new Muppet stuff, but even if they don't, it's worth it and it's funny and it's actually educational, but it's also very, very, it has that Muppet humor that teaches education in a very, very silly way. So yeah, even if you're an adult, listen, if you're like me, you grew up with the Muppets, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Next, the Norway Vikings. Now, if you haven't been to Norway in a while, it's not just Frozen and Frozen Ever After and Anna and Elsa. There are Vikings. They are kind of streetmosphere characters that walk around the pavilion. And they are blown away by our technology. I've seen them on scooters or looking at scooters. I've seen them checking out iPhones, but they don't speak English. So, because they're Vikings from when Vikings were around. So I don't know what language they speak, but they are a lot of fun. If you haven't seen them, that might be worth walking over there to the Norway Pavilion and checking them out. They put on a really, really fun show. Okay, the Pandora Utility Suit. Now that's in, of course, Pandora, the world of Avatar in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It's basically a dude in a robot that walks around. I've seen the videos. I haven't seen it in person. It wasn't open the last time I was there, or it wasn't running the last time I was there. It hadn't premiered yet, is what I'm trying to say. It's a really cool thing. Again, it's not something you're going to plan your entire day around, but when you're in Pandora, look for him. He's really cool. Okay, Port Orleans French Quarter has live music at the Scat Cats Club. So basically, it's a bar that has live blues music. It's between 8 and 11 p.m. It's fun. There's different acts that play there. If you're into blues, if you want to sit, relax, have a drink, it's a lot of fun to go over there. Raglan Road at Disney Springs also has live music from 4 p.m. until 1 a.m. They have the Irish step dancers as well, who will teach your kids Irish step dancing, or as my kids do it, just jumping around in place. It's kind of how they dance. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom, there is the Rivers of Light show. Now, here's where it gets real, okay? I don't love the show. I wanted to love it. I just didn't. You might. I mean, listen, this is a matter of personal preference here. I'd rather use my time in Animal Kingdom riding attractions than seeing Rivers of Light. That's just me. I have to be honest with you. So I'm not talking you out of it, but just be warned. I expected more, is all I'm going to say. Okay. Over at World Showcase in the Rose and Crown Pub, they have live music there pretty much all day, starting at lunch and going until the evening. That's a lot of fun. If you don't have reservations there, you might want to stop in, have a drink, check out the live music. Just be warned that it gets pretty crowded in there. All right, in Magic Kingdom, in Fantasyland, the Royal Majesty Makers, they walk around and entertain guests and have lots of little fun kind of interactions with the guests. They also do the Sword in a Stone ceremony. So that's where they pick a child or an adult, a bunch of adults, out of the crowd to pull the sword out of the stone. Most oftentimes, an adult won't be able to do it. So check it out. It's fun. It's cute. It's a neat little thing to see in Fantasyland. Over in World Showcase in Italy, they have Sergio, who is a juggler in the Italy Pavilion. Again, he's really good, but it's not something that you're going to plan your day around. But if you're walking through World Showcase and you see him, stop and check him out. He has a really cool show. Another one in World Showcase in the France Pavilion is, I can't say this, so I apologize. Server Amusant. That's not how you pronounce that. Anyway, these guys are phenomenal. They are the ones that, it's a server and a chef. And they have an amazing show where they stack chairs. It's way more exciting than that. So you should check that out if you're walking through World Showcase. If you're in Disney Springs, check out Splitsville Luxury Lanes. It's a good place to go bowling, to eat. The food is surprisingly really good there. Now, again, this might not be something on your radar if you go once in a while or if it's your first trip. I really think Splitsville is more for people like me who are in Walt Disney World several times a year. But if you have a night and you don't have plans, head over to Disney Springs and check Splitsville out. It's a nice, fun place to go bowling. And again, the food is really, really good. Star Wars: A Galaxy Far, Far Away. That's the stage show in Disney's Hollywood Studios in front of the Chinese Theater. Listen, I've seen it 25 times. They have it like 5 or 6 times a day. I've live streamed it. I've seen it so many times. I've watched it. It's a lot of fun. If you're a Star Wars fan, I mean, it has all of the Star Wars characters you could ever ask for. I mean, it has Chewbacca, R2-D2, C-3PO, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Stormtroopers, Captain Phasma, BB-8. Now there's Rey. Rey is now on the show as of last year. It's fun. And after their stage show, here's a little insider tip for you. While the stage show is going on, if you've already seen it, head over to the front of Star Wars Launch Bay. You'll see a few cast members standing there. They are crowd control, and they are kind of there to usher the characters backstage. But if you stand there instead of trying to get pictures in front of the stage when the show is going on, you can get some great unobstructed photos of these characters from Star Wars. It's pretty cool. All right, the next two are both in Star Wars Launch Bay. Meet Kylo Ren and meet Chewbacca. Listen, again, Star Wars fan, I recommend both. If you're a Star Wars fan, the lines are never really long, like 25 minutes tops. It goes fast. Chewbacca is just a really, really fun character to meet. Actually, I've been waiting. I was like, before I met him, I was waiting my whole lifetime to meet Chewbacca. It's such a cool thing. And then Kylo Ren is just downright creepy. He's creepy. Even for me. I'm an adult man. I'm almost 40 years old. He freaks me out. All right, heading back over to Animal Kingdom. For the next one, it's the Swotu Waya Navi drum ceremony. That's over, of course, in Pandora, the world of Avatar. And it's fine. Listen, it's neat. It's musicians playing the drums. I feel like you do get a better drummer experience, though, at the Tam Tam Drummers in Harambe. That was the next one on the list. That's in Harambe in Disney's Animal Kingdom in Africa. Yeah, if you're going to choose between the two, see that one. Next up, Tree of Life Awakenings. So a couple times at night, the Tree of Life has projections and lights, and it wakes up and there's music, and it's cool. You can see it from all around the park, especially from Discovery Island. That's something to watch and look out for. Next, still at Animal Kingdom, Up, A Great Bird Adventure. This is the new show that took over for Flights of Wonder in the theater in Asia. I haven't seen it, but there's no Kevin. I was disappointed. How do you have a bird show that is based on the movie Up and there's no Kevin? Kevin, she's one of the best parts of the movie. She should be in the show. Anyway, I'll hold off on my review until I see it in a few weeks. I only have two more on the list. The next one, Voices of Liberty. That is in the American Adventure Pavilion at Epcot. It's awesome. It's awesome. You should see that. They sing several times a day. There's performances inside the rotunda. Yeah, just go see it. It's worth it. And last on the list, of course, Voyage of the Little Mermaid. That is the stage show that is based, obviously, on the film The Little Mermaid. It's been going for, 25 years plus. It's still a really great show. Little kids love it. The under the sea scene, the show, the song is still a jaw dropper. The way the live performers perform the show several times a day, they're just phenomenal. Really, really cool. Still totally worth your time to see that show. But don't get a fast pass for it. You can kind of walk right in 10 minutes before the show starts. All right. Well, I covered everything. I hope it was helpful. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There Disney podcast. Thank you once again to Bob Gurr for coming on and answering another question earlier in the show. And thank you so much for kind of hanging out with me and listening. Listen, there was a lot of entertainment and a lot of shows to cover. I talked for like 52 plus minutes. So if you're still listening right now, thank you for listening to the entire show. I really appreciate it. And I wanted to do this one because I wanted to kind of cover all the entertainment options you have. There are a ton of them, like I said. Also, I wanted to help you with a few that you might want to skip. Listen, we all want to do everything we can in Walt Disney World, but sometimes we don't have the time, and hopefully this was helpful in that way. Okay, just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There Disney podcast each and every Monday, as well as a second episode of either It's a Food World or the Word of the Week on Wednesdays. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. Have yourself an awesome week, a great Memorial Day. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.